Hi, it's Amanda. Welcome to my channel. In case you haven't watched my first video, I'm a new vegan. A new vegan that's still using bone broth because I'm also relatively cheap and I bought like 24 boxes of bone broth because it was good value and I want to go through them. But that is the only non-vegan product that I have been using for the last 6 weeks. Anyway, new vegan here, almost. I'm about 6 weeks in, and one of the things I've noticed most since going vegan is my change in approach to meal prep. So in this video, I'm going to be walking through, I think it's 7 things that I've noticed regarding meal prep since going vegan. So number 1 is I was never able to just cook dinner. There was always a meat protein involved. And therefore, given my lack of search for botulism, there was never just a ready supply of meat in my fridge at any given time. So if I was gonna make a meat, I had to take it out the night before, or I had to remember to take it out early in the morning so I could put it in my fridge for it to defrost in the least harmful way. Not to mention large roasts, which would require like, 2, 3, 4 days to defrost. It's enough that it takes me almost 3 full days to wash my hair. I can't do the same thing with my meal preparation. Although I did, when I was not vegan. Now it's all canned or fresh, or even frozen, but I mean frozen spinach, you defrost it in the microwave, in a pan, or whatever. It's not a big deal. If I want to cook something, I can just take out my ingredients, ready to go, and just get started. So that's 1 for the vegans. Number 2, slightly related to number 1, is that you could leave food on your counter for several hours. It's not out to kill you with no warning. With meat, a steak coming out of your fridge 7 hours ago and a steak coming out of your fridge 7 minutes ago, they're gonna look relatively the same. Okay, one will be warmer than the other, but the cuts of meat look pretty much the same. But you eat that 7-hour steak, you might have a problem. But with vegan food, if it wants to hurt you, it'll be pretty upfront with it. It'll turn a different color, it'll start growing fur, it'll have hundreds of fruit flies flying around it saying, back off, back off, back off. Meat doesn't show you the same courtesy. Plus it's inflammatory, as is fish and dairy. And also you can't leave dairy out sitting on the counter for 5 hours either because that will also make you sick. Number 3 is that it just yields such a colorful plate. I started eating a lot more produce several months ago, but it was never really the star of my meal. My plate would feature a carcass, a carb, and then squeezed in next to it, I would have some fruit or vegetable that I'd be very proud to have included in my meal. But now I'm eating that rainbow. The rainbow is the star of the show, and it's just more aesthetically pleasing, but not to a point where it's so beautiful you don't want to eat it. Number 4 is it's a lot of chopping. And for me, when I say chopping, I don't necessarily mean chopping because I am a gadget fiend. So I have pretty much every gadget known to man that will chop the stuff for me. But regardless, it's a lot of chopping of vegetables and fruit. There's nothing wrong with that. But when I was doing meat, I would have the meat, which I wasn't really chopping. And then I would have a salad, which was usually just like a very, very simple salad with like some kind of leaf in it and maybe a dressing. I put so much effort and time into creating a meat or fish dish that I was not, after I was finished with everything, gonna go and make like a legit salad. So I often didn't. I know that you have lentils and beans and quinoa and all that stuff, and you don't really chop that stuff, but I do use a lot of produce. So I would spend a whole bunch of time chopping my vegetables, prepare them for my main dish, but then I go make a huge salad. It's the apples, the pears, the carrots, the radishes, the pickles, the jalapenos. You know what these things all have in common? You gotta chop them. So pretty much it just means I need to go get a knife sharpener. I do realize that the only change from non-vegan to vegan is not just the meat, it's just that the meat was more central in my diet versus the fish and, the dairy. Number 5, and this one's really exciting, is that you don't have to use separate cutting boards. So this is some of my cutting boards. I've got these, I've got this one, this one, this one, and a whole bunch of others actually. But my point is, I had a cutting board for different things. And this, for example, the red one's for meat, the blue one's for fish, this one's for vegetables, and the other one is for cooked food. This one is for meat. All of the others are just for, whatever. So while I actually know what the cutting boards are for, it would be very annoying where I am prepping my food. I have all my vegetables, chopped up on this board, but I still have like 60% of the space left. But I have to go and haul out this or this, so I can, or this, so I can separately prepare my meat or fish because I don't want to mix raw meat with the food that I am making. So that was just another inconvenience. And when I'm working with meat on the counter, I then had to make sure that I scrubbed it down and disinfected when I was done. Now I'm not working with raw meat, so I don't have to worry about it. Everything that I'm eating is clean. So that is the ultimate in clean eating. And related to this, I'm not going to make it a separate item, but you know, Nick and I were always asking each other, what if we see a knife laying on the counter or something, what was this used for? Was it used for meat, or can I use it? Pretty much meaning that you don't know which of your stuff is like dirty with like raw meat juices. But now that everything that I am using is vegan foods, it doesn't matter if I was cutting a tomato or I was cutting an apple or something, you can use it for whatever it is that you're making. This always happens, I lost count. I think the next one is number 6. I'm gonna be really annoyed if it's not. Number 6 is that I have a lot more space in my fridge. And when I say a lot more, I just mean that I have an extra drawer. I used to have a raw meat drawer in my fridge, and that was where I could keep all of my raw meat. Last week, I was prepping my vegetables. I actually get 2 Madness boxes from Misfits on a weekly basis, so I have a lot of produce in my fridge. I was getting really stressed. I was getting really stressed out because I ran out of space in my fridge and I still had a whole heap of vegetables in my sink. But then I remembered I don't have a raw meat drawer anymore, and it was actually cleaned. So I was able to just toss the stuff in there, and it just means that my entire fridge is free to use, because even when my meat drawer was empty, I couldn't really use it because there was always raw meat in there. So the last one here, and I think this is number 7, is that I don't have to use anymore a whole bunch of my most used gadgets. And this is neither good nor bad, it's just an observation that I'm making. To my point about the whole having to defrost meat overnight, I did purchase this defrosting tray that actually, it didn't work in 30 seconds or 30 minutes or however they said. So that was just a complete false advertisement. But the idea is you put a raw piece of meat on here and it defrosts it really, really quickly and safely. It wasn't really, really quick, but it was quicker than putting it in the fridge. So I used it very often, pretty much most days when I would forget to take things out of the freezer. So there's that, and then I thought there would be more things, and I might come across them as I just go through life. But I also have 6 cast iron pans that I don't really need anymore. I mean, technically I assume you could still use cast irons for cooking things. And I use my, I use this one for doing my flatbreads, but I was in a cast iron pan pretty much every night before because I was always searing something. Now I'm not really searing things, and I don't really want to overcook the vegetables because I don't want it to release, you know, too many of its nutrients. So I'm perfectly happy with all of my nonstick pans at this point. Aiden and Layla are not vegan with me, although they're eating the food that I'm making, so I guess I'm just trying to limit their meat and dairy consumption. I will still be using my cast iron pans, but the point is, I don't really need them as much. I don't need to use my meat thermometer anymore. I didn't use that often, but it's just something else that I'm not gonna have to use anymore. And I just have so many gadgets, although I guess I don't really have any meat gadgets. Nick is really upset at the fact that he doesn't have as many uses for his big green egg grill. I gave it to him, now I'm taking it away because I got it for him for his 30th or his 29th birthday, and I'm the one who turned us vegan, so. So anyway, I think that was actually 7 items. I just wanted to jump on and do this quick video because I'm just noticing so many things as I go through, and I thought this would be a good introductory video. I post recipe videos on Sunday, and I'm trying to come at you during the week with just like a non-recipe related video just to talk about my vegan journey. And I really wish this journey would be over, but I have so much bone broth left. But once I finish that, I will be 100% vegan, and I'm really looking forward to it. I hope you like this video. If you like my content, please consider subscribing. Share this with anyone that you know that is struggling with or just became vegan, or anyone you think might enjoy this video. I'm gonna include for you another 2 videos on the next screen that you can take a look at if you'd like. And let me know if there's anything that you noticed that I didn't mention or that I did mention that you noticed when you moved from a non-vegan diet to a vegan diet. I would be interested to see if there's anything else that I should be taking into consideration or any tips that you have for me. Again, thank you for watching, and I will talk to you in my next one. Have a good one.